Hello again and welcome to Sailboat Building video channel. My name is Panu and I am about to build this 50-meter cruising sailboat right here in my boat shed. And past year or so has been mostly preparing for things like building this shed and all this stuff like the CNC router. But now I'm very happy to say that the build starts from here. And by that, I mean these 3 pieces of plywood will be the table where I build the frames of the boat. Remember to subscribe and leave comment and check the Patreon page and all of that jazz. But all right, the table. Well, the boat is 15 meters long and about 4.5 meters wide, so I need a table that can fit this 4.5 meter frame in there. And these plywood sheets available here in Finland, they are 3 meters long and 1.5 meters wide. So putting 2 of these side by side will create 3 by 3 meters table, but that's not enough. So I have 3, so it will be 4.5 meters wide and 3 meters long. The table will have dog holes in it so that I can very precisely fit the frame pieces there, and when I'm laminating them they won't move. So now the first job is to put those holes in these boards. Here you can see the plans for the table, and it consists of these 3 boards and all of them has a pattern of holes in it, and to fit them together the pattern must continue seamlessly from board to another. So there will be a small gaps between the boards, but that's all right because the thing that matters are the holes. So now the first job is to put this board into the CNC router. I have the program ready to go and make these holes. These coated plywood sheets have 2 different surfaces on either side. So this one is the rough side that has some grip on it, and the other side is smooth. And I think I'm gonna use the smooth side for the table surface, just for that the epoxy won't stick to that as easily. So I have to flip this around. And that's easier said than done because it is very heavy. But let's try to do that now. I'm a little bit afraid that it will ruin the surface of the spoil board. I have to figure out something. Let's try these round little sticks. Whew, they worked great. Now the problem is how I get them off there. Whew, that was harder than I expected. But yeah, now it's in there. Now I have to put it in the right position and then load the program and start drilling holes. Hundreds of them. Alright, the board is waiting in the machine and I have two computers here. This PC laptop is the machine that controls the CNC and this is my work laptop. So there's two sets of holes. There's the bigger holes, one that will connect that board to the frame of the table and of course those dog holes. And then there is a set of smaller holes that are for screwing things down into the table. So I have separate files for all of them here. And if you take a look at the actual file, you can see that there's three of these boards side by side and there is a slight gap between. So the 10 centimeter holing system goes through the whole board. And this is the board number 1 and there is a small difference between these boards, so I can't use the same program for everything. There is these holes between there that connects the table to the frame of the table, so it will be about 60 centimeters above ground. So that's it, I have everything should be ready. Now I just copy these to the memory stick like that, and now it's done, and now they are here, and now I connect this to the other machine. This is Windows machine, so I won't connect it into any network and keep it fresh from the additional stuff that might take some resources of the machine. Let's load the file, table 1, big holes, and here we have it. Now it is there. And first I need to zero out the starting position. I don't yet have the zeroing tool configured, so I just do it manually with paper. So that should be the 0Z. It's not that hard actually. And the zeroing position of this corner is not exactly that critical because the orientation will be done with the holes related to the other board. So now it should be in 0 position, and let's start the program and see what happens. Alright, now the machine is doing its work, and actually the noise level is not that bad. That dust collection is not loud at all. I think I'm gonna skip the separate space for that. It's completely alright. Alright, now the mounting holes for the table are done, and now it starts to put the rows of holes starting from here. My plan was to start building the table frame now, but it turns out that I don't have enough cables to power my tools. The only cable is going to that computer, and I'm not gonna take that off. It has had some problems by shutting down if the cable is off, so not gonna do that. Maybe I'll just watch and enjoy the fruit of my work. All right, 3 hours later, the first table piece is almost done. The big holes are in. Now it needs the smaller holes, and I'm not gonna do that because it is Sunday and it is 9 minutes past midnight. So I'm heading home. It's work day tomorrow. But meanwhile, when that thing was on, I figured out, well, what the heck, I can use manual tools as well. So I built this table frame. And yeah, it looks quite good. It needs additional legs because it flexes a bit, and some cross beams and stuff like that to make it really sturdy. I will be doing stuff, putting the frames and bending wood on top of this, and probably I have to climb on the table. That's why it's this low and not higher, which would be better for making stuff. But yeah, now I leave this here and come back someday next week. We'll see how this goes. Really, really thrilled that this project has now officially begun. So excited. And just like that, the first piece of the table is ready. There's now a bunch of holes made with the CNC. Everything went perfectly. And yeah, this is now on the frame of the table, and there is some cross beams there as well, just to hold it in shape while I lift these. I will do the final leveling after all these pieces are here. It's now Wednesday evening and I'm kind of done for today. Work day tomorrow, and I will continue maybe tomorrow by making a second piece of the table. This took about 3 hours to make these bigger holes, and then there is smaller screw holes that took over an hour. So it's a 4-hour job with the CNC. But yeah, this is now done. It is very precise and looks very, very good. Very happy with it. Another thing that I'm very happy about is this pile of plywood. This is now the second pile of material that will be used on the boat, and these will be the frame shapes. This is now 6.5 millimeter pine plywood, very, very high quality, and these came from the western coast of Finland, where there is some familiar boat factories like Swan and Baltic, and they tend to use this kind of materials there. And this was kind of one extra pile that have just been laying around in one reseller. So I got it quite cheap, I think. Well, I don't know if plywood is ever cheap. There is 25 or 26 sheets of this material, and I believe this will be enough for me to cut all the frames for the boat, and I'm really excited for that. Next step, as material's sake, is to find good quality pine to cut the slats for the laminated frames. But now I can really start figuring out the layout of the frames and how to cut them out from these. I will do one additional test before I get my blade into these though. Very excited. Okay, let's take a little look what I need to do in forthcoming weeks and months. This is pretty much a simplified presentation of the issue, but there is a couple of important ones. The top ones, the green ones here, are the things I need to do for the shed. And these orange ones are kind of supportive tasks for the boat build, and these are the actual boat build things. So I have now started working with the table. So that should be finished pretty soon. And after that, I will jump into the drum sander. I need to smooth the pine boards needed for the frames. So that's one thing I need to do. It's not going to be very expensive. I would do it from scrap plywood. The one big thing is actually the insulation of the shed. In order for me to install that in here, in the shed, I need a crane in here, and that needs to be done before I start laying the foundation for the boat, because the foundation will take most of the space in here and the crane won't fit in anymore. So This starts after the insulation is done. And of course that includes all kinds of supportive things like lights in the roof and stuff like that. And that's why this is after the insulation phase here. This is kind of a rough timeline. That's the biggest one, and these figures, the euro signs, kind of tells how much everything will cost. So the insulation will cost maybe 2,000 to 3,000 euros. So that's pretty expensive one, and I need to order it maybe in next month, I think. I hope I have enough money. If not, it will postpone, but that's all right because the frames are starting and there will be 17 of these frames and they're a pretty big job, so I don't feel that much pressure of starting the foundation leveling yet. I have plenty of work with the frames and of course with additional things as well. So for the frames I need of course the pine boards to cut the slats from and more epoxy. I need to order those and find these. The plywood sheets I showed you just a minute ago, they are already here, so I can start really making this frame as soon as the table is completed. And yeah, there's still some design work to do for the frames, just some little small details to figure out. Then I need more plywood, a thicker plywood for all the other components, and there is a 10mm and 15mm plywood I need, so I need to find that. It's not in real hurry because this comes of course first. So there is plenty of things to do and I'm just trying to figure out this whole thing kind of in my head somehow. The biggest thing of course is the budgeting, because as I have said before, only source of money is from my daily work, and it's kind of limited how much I can do work monthly and get additional money, for example, this insulation. Good thing now is that the electric connection, which was pretty expensive, is now paid, and all these had been paid, so that's good. So I'm not getting myself into debt with this thing. That's it. Not that complicated, but there is still some things to figure out. And here they are, the 3 boards for the frame build table. It went quite smoothly. Nothing that much of a serious accident, except for maybe these 2. Always remember to check your program, not to push your small bit too low. But now they are here, they are on their places. Next step is to fix them in place in a way that these holes that have 10 centimeter distance from each other continue seamlessly across these gaps. And for that I'm gonna use the previous board I used for make the test frame a few months ago. It has the same 10 centimeter distance from hole to hole. There is a bit of kind of flex and warpness in this board, but I think it's gonna be fixed when I drill them into the legs, and if not, I'm gonna add some supports on the edges right here. So this should be completely flat. I'm still gonna check it with the legs and all the spacers and stuff like that. But yeah, these took maybe 4 hours each to make with the CNC. I changed the settings a little bit. This came a little faster, but I think the bit was a bit dull already, so there's a bit of splinters here. One thing that I still testing with using that machine is the acceleration ratio. So, you know, if there's a certain feed or speed that the machine runs, it always accelerates to that speed. And the setting for that acceleration is in that control software. And especially when making curves and things like that, the software actually limits the speed by that acceleration value. So for example, making these holes where the X and Y are constantly accelerating direction to another. If that value is too low, it's very slow to make these kind of holes. So by increasing that value, it makes it much faster. But also you have to remember there's quite a bunch of mass with that machine, so it can't be too high. But I'm kind of figuring that out when I'm using it more. But yeah, I've been a little sick for a week now and just getting better now, and today I'm heading to the lake and we're going to sail for a few days, and we'll get back with this next week, which is kind of annoying because I'm kind of thrilled to continue this work. But hey, it's summer now and there's plenty of time in forthcoming weeks. And now I also can do the paid work from here, waiting when the machine is doing its stuff. So not bad situation at all. With you, I'm going to continue with this in just a moment. All right, week later. Now when the table pieces are done, it's time to put them together. And I'm going to do that with this additional piece I did last spring for the test lamination. And this has the same 10 centimeter holes in it. So now when I put it right over here, it should go just on the holes and align everything perfectly. There's one mistake I did with the first piece, the mounting holes, where I'm gonna screw these boards down to the frame. I made them through holes in that one, so I need to figure out how I'm gonna screw them down in that case, but these were just maybe a centimeter down and it should be plenty to hold it. Oh, and don't mind these, they are the next test piece. I did them off camera and we'll get back to them later. Alrighty, the table is now finished, almost. I noticed that there is some flex in these seams, like in here. When I step on here, you can maybe see the table flexing a little bit. There is a kind of structure in here and in there, but there is no structure in this way in the middle. So I think I'm gonna add some bracings below there on both seams, like in here as well. Also, I noticed that the edges where the table pieces meet, there is some variation of height in those. So I think I'm gonna put some additional pieces over there as well. But otherwise this looks now very good, and the grid of the holes is now on its place and they are fixed together. And after doing the bracings in here, the last job is to level this. So I need to put some spacers below the legs. I did that initially already, but it has moved a little bit when I fiddled with these big heavy boards here. So I need to do that again and make sure that this is completely leveled. But yeah, this is the table, and you may see it's quite a huge table, 4.5 meters in this way and 3 meters in this way. And the biggest frame of the boat should fit here. And that's very exciting. All right, I think this video is plenty long enough, and now when this table is complete, I will end this episode right here. Feel free to put a comment down below. Remember to subscribe, give me a like and stuff like that. And if you're interested to support this project and these videos, you can go and check the Patreon page. I'm a little bit on the summer schedule. I don't know when this video will come out and when the next video will come, but yeah, the project will continue and we will see you soon. Bye.